What's going on, guys? Spud here, and welcome to my F1 2025 predictions. Right, this is going to be a controversial one, as always. We did this last year, and I think I had Norris third, Hamilton second, Verstappen first. Obviously, Verstappen won, but I didn't have the rest of that right. Um, yeah, this year I'm looking forward to F1 a bit more this year. I quite enjoyed last year. I do, like I've said though, I do think the fact that I stopped watching it as much isn't because obviously I'm an Albon, and if you're new by the way, I support Alex Albon and I'm also a Red Bull Racing fan. So the reason I didn't watch it as much is just because I feel like sometimes the F1 fans in general are so repetitive and they're just so toxic sometimes. So I'm looking forward to watching it this year without really thinking about people's opinions. Um, so I did watch a bit of testing when I could. So obviously these are going to be some reactionary results, of course, but let's just see what happens. Obviously, these are my predictions. Just to let you know, we're not going to be doing F2 or F3, as I'm probably not going to. Well, I won't be watching F3. F2, the only two drivers that I'm really interested in how they do is probably Arvid Limbad and Victor Martins, because there's a chance that Arvid Limbad might be in one of the Red Bull seats next year, or obviously like RB, which is what would be most likely, obviously. Anyway, if you enjoy, please comment down below though. I want to see your comments. Who do you think is going to win the championship? I'm not bothered if you're gonna say like Bortoletto or whatever. I'm just interested to see what you guys think. Anyway, enough about my yap session because otherwise this video will take too long. How we'll do this is I've just got it like on a PowerPoint type of thing. We're just got a list of things, but you'll understand. I will put the webcam on so you get to see my beautiful face, of course, because otherwise you wouldn't be watching. Right. So, different race winners. I think we'll have 6 different race winners this year. Last year we had 7. We had both Ferraris, both Mercedes, both McLarens, and Verstappen. This year, though, I'm going to say 6. I don't think we'll have as many, but obviously 7 winners last year was quite impressive, seeing as there was only 3 the year before. The first driver to lose their seat, I've gone for Jack Doohan. Now, I don't know if there will be multiple. I mean, based off my prediction, I think he'll be the only one. Now, I don't think it's fair that they've signed Colapinto and basically Doohan's under immense pressure before he's actually had a race in an F1 car. He did do the Abu Dhabi race, so of course, but that was kind of just like a free hit because he hadn't really had the practice. This is where it counts really for Jack Doohan. So obviously he counts as a rookie because he had one race. Apparently Liam Lawson still counts as a rookie, by the way, which I find that kind of crazy. Now, for the best rookie, I've decided not to include him anyway in the rookie thing. I just don't. He's racing 2 different seasons. He can't be a rookie. I've gone for Antonelli. Now, one of the main reasons I've gone for that is just because I think he's going to get the most points out of the rookies because he's going to be in a pretty decent car. But obviously, I think that Antonelli is really hyped up. But I don't think that this is a season where you should expect too much. The worst rookie, again, I've just gone for the same kind of reason. I just think that the Sauber is not going to be very good again this year. So I've gone for Bortoletto. I'm expecting him to be near the back for a lot of the races. But that doesn't necessarily mean he's a bad driver. I mean, he literally won the F3 and F2 championship back to back. That's very impressive, of course. One to watch. I wanted to go with Albon because obviously Albon 2 seasons ago, in my genuine opinion, was a top 5 driver. He was one of the best performing drivers on the grid in 2023. But in 2024, he definitely did underperform, in my opinion, especially with crashing quite a few times. But I've gone for his teammate Carlos Sainz because obviously I think Sainz has a point to prove. I thought he was very good at Ferrari, but obviously bringing in someone like Lewis Hamilton, you can't really say no to, regardless of his performances. But obviously, that midfield battle is going to be very interesting because I don't think Aston Martin are going to be very good this year. So it's basically a scrap between everyone, I would say, really, for like 5th, 6th, 7th. Them last couple of points every race, I think it's going to be a really interesting season in the midfield. But I think Carlos Sainz is going to be one of those drivers that gets those points most weeks. Flop of the season, I've gone for Fernando Alonso. I feel like Fernando Alonso is not going to have a good season. And because of that, he's obviously going to be disappointed. But with Adrian Newey coming in, the new regulations in 2026, I don't think he's going to decide to retire or anything. He'll kind of see this season as, whatever will be, will be. Um, and yeah, I'll go with Alonso. Um, Regarding who's going to win what races, obviously I'm not going to do that. Like, will some drivers win multiple races? I mean, out of those six drivers, different winners, I'll say who I'm going for now. I don't mind. I think Verstappen, Hamilton, Leclerc, Russell, Piastri, and Norris will all win races. However, I think that Piastri and Russell will only maybe win one race, whereas I think the other four drivers will win multiple races this year. But obviously that Red Bull's an interesting one. Will it be? How fast will it be? That's kind of the talk around the paddock because obviously they weren't the fastest car for most of last season, but Verstappen was still able to win the championship, which shows how good of a driver he is. So, constructors 10th to 6th. I'm going to be honest with you, ninth to 5th was impossible to choose from. And obviously, I've had to be a bit reactionary with testing regarding like Aston Martin, and I didn't know where to put Haas and RB and Alpine and Williams. But Sauber 10th was pretty straightforward for me. I just don't think they're very good, and I don't think they will be very good. We'll have to see how they are next year, obviously, when they're Audi. It is Audi, isn't it? Anyway, 10th to 6th. So Sauber in 10th now. Haas I've put in ninth. Main reasons I've put Haas in ninth, I think obviously Oliver Behrman, he's had a bit of experience now in an F1 car for Ferrari and like Jeddah and that, but I do think that this season is kind of a learning curve for him. So I've gone ninth, but it could be eighth, it could be seventh, it could even be sixth. You just don't know. It's so hard to predict the midfield this season. And because of how bad testing went for Aston Martin, I have actually gone eighth for Aston Martin. I really don't think they're going to be very good this year. And I think Stroll honestly will show why he shouldn't be in F1 this year, and maybe he'll finally get replaced. So maybe like Sonoda or Drugovic might finally get his chance. We'll have to see. RB I've put in seventh, but again they were hovering around the sixth and fifth. The reason I didn't put them in fifth is because I didn't think there'd be that much of a. I expected to be a massive gap still between them and Red Bull. Obviously, Ajaz Hadjar's coming in. I'm interested to see how he does. Now, I've put Alpine in sixth, and I'm going to explain why later on in this video. Why I've put Alpine in sixth, but I'm expecting a decent season out of Pierre Gasly, of course. Now, fifth to first. I'm going to be honest, I changed second and first before I recorded this. Williams in fifth. Again, it could be Alpine. I think it'll be between Williams, Alpine, and maybe RB for fifth, but it's hard to tell. It could easily just be Aston Martin. It could just be bad testing, but we'll have to see. Mercedes in fourth. I think, Antonelli, they shouldn't rush him into anything. I think he'll have a good season, but nothing but the ordinary. Red Bull I've put third. I think Verstappen will have a decent-ish season, but I'm not expecting him to probably win 5 in a row, however amazing that would be. He's already cemented himself within the F1 greats, I think, now, with 4 in a row, but I don't think he's going to get 5. McLaren second, and that is mainly because I think that Hamilton will finish maybe ahead of Piastri, and I think that Leclerc could finish ahead of Norris. I don't know. It's so difficult. For me, it's basically who does better between Hamilton and Piastri for who wins the constructors. Now, I expect Piastri to do better in qualifying, but I think Hamilton is definitely got better race ability than Piastri, that's for sure. So now it's time for my driver predictions in terms of 21st to whatever. So I'm going to start with 21st to 16. Now, Jack Doohan, I feel so bad for him, but I think he'll be gone after 6 rounds. I think he'll be gone after 6 rounds and replaced by Colapinto. Bortoletto in 20th, which I think is maybe harsh. Stroll, I'm putting 19th. I really have no faith in Lance Stroll. I think he'll get like 5 points, if that, this season. And then I'm going to put Nico Hulkenberg in 18th. I think obviously Hulkenberg's a great qualifier, but I think the Sauber's going to be really bad because they're just going to be focusing on next year. But obviously Hulkenberg's joined Sauber so that he can be part of Audi in 2026, German manufacturer, German driver. And he'll understand that this season, just like Alonso, but is kind of a free hit until the new regulations come into play. Oliver Behrman in 17th. Now, maybe that's a bit harsh on Oliver Behrman, but like I said, I just think that I don't know how Haas are going to perform. And again, it's the same with RB, and that's why I've put Isaac Hadjar in 16th. But I think Isaac Hadjar definitely could surprise a few. I mean, I think Isaac Hadjar's a really good driver, and he was unlucky, in my opinion, not to win the championship this year in F2. Yeah, I like Hadjar. I think he definitely deserved this opportunity to be in F2, sorry, in F1. But I kind of hope that Red Bull don't give him the De Vries treatment, especially because he's a rookie, whereas De Vries, yeah, he was classed as a rookie, but he was like 27, 28 when he made his F1 debut. He's quite old for a rookie. Obviously, Yuki Tsunoda's future is definitely uncertain after being snubbed for the Red Bull seat. It's very likely that he leaves Red Bull, the Red Bull program at the end of this year. Obviously, that gives Arvid Limbad the opportunity probably to get a chance in F1. But obviously, it also depends on how Isaac Hadjar does. But I think that they won't drop Isaac Hadjar. Not for the full season, not during the season anyway. So now it's time for 15th to 11th. So I've gone for Esteban Ocon in 15th. Fernando Alonso in 14th. I know I've put him as the flop, but 14th for Alonso is not where he wants to be. 13th, I've gone for Colapinto. Now, obviously, I'm saying that he's going to miss he's not going to be involved in the first 6 races. This is the reason why I've put Alpine ahead behind Williams, is just because I think that it's going to be these 6 races that potentially. I think Doohan will perform not as well as he could because of the pressure that he's under. So yeah, I think if Colapinto raced the first 6 races as well, I think that Alpine will probably finish ahead. Tsunoda in 12th, I think it'll be another steady season for Yuki Tsunoda, just kind of what he's used to, picking up the points now and then. I've gone for Albon in 11th. Obviously, I think he's got to prove a bit more this season. He was a bit underwhelming last season, but the season before that, he was absolutely superb. But obviously now, Albon's obviously signed a new contract at Williams again. I think he's definitely there for next season, unless they obviously terminate his contract. But I think that Albon, obviously, he's been the better driver all the time since he joined Williams. I know there was like one race where people thought, "Oh, Colapinto's better than him already." No, that was bull. Of course, Albon beat him for most of the rest of the year. But I do think that Sainz is obviously a better driver than Albon. Hurts me to say it, but I do think that Sainz is better. I just hope that there was a bit of tension with Sainz and Leclerc at Ferrari. I kind of hope that isn't the case at Williams, but we'll have to see. So that's my 21st to 11th. Now we're going to do our 10th to 6th. Pierre Gasly in 10th, I'm going to go with. I think that's fair. I think another good season out with the Frenchman. But obviously, it all depends on Alpine. Alpine definitely could surprise a few. I mean, I think if it wasn't for the pressure that Doohan's under, I think they'd finish 5th. But I just think the pressure's going to cost them in the first few races. Sainz in 9th, I think he'll be the best of the rest this season. I already do think out of the best of the rest drivers, he is probably the best. He is definitely a top 3 anyway. Him, maybe Alonso and Gasly or Albon. I'm going to go with Sainz though for 9th. So then we've got obviously the top 4 teams. I've gone for Liam Lawson in 8th, but he's not going to have the fastest car for a race this season most likely. So yeah, I think he'll get points. I don't think he'll be terrible. I think he'll do all right. I think he'll have a better season than Perez did last season, probably. But obviously the car isn't going to be as fast. So in terms of points, he probably will have around the same, if not less. But I'll go Lawson in 8th. Hopefully we get to see Liam Lawson on the podium at least once this season. Antonelli in 7th. Yeah, I think that would be a brilliant season for Antonelli. I don't know if he'll get any podiums, but I could definitely see him getting quite a few top 5 finishes. But I think there's quite a bit of pressure on Antonelli's shoulders, but hopefully Mercedes aren't forcing that on him. Russell in 6th, I think because I've put Mercedes to be the 4th best car in this season, in my opinion, like 4th in the constructors. I'm going to go with Russell. I think he'll obviously win a race, but I just think the other 5 drivers will outscore him ultimately. So now it's time for 5th to 1st. Now I'm going to be honest, 1st has been pretty easy for me for all season, like waiting for this season to start. So I've gone for Piastri in 5th. I think, he'll win a race, but again, I think Norris will be the superior driver. And with Ferrari's dominance, I think there'll be races where he won't score podiums where Norris will. I've gone for Hamilton in fourth. Now, obviously, Hamilton's qualifying last year for Mercedes was absolutely terrible, except he got like, I think he got pole at one race. Or was that the year before? I don't even know. I know he definitely got it in Hungary 2023, but Hamilton's qualifying was very poor last year. Very poor. And ultimately, I think that's what's going to potentially cause him from getting fourth in the championship to maybe second. But we'll have to just see. Obviously, it's first season in Ferrari. I think he'll do all right. He'll do well. He'll win a couple of races. I can guarantee that. In third, I'm going to go for Max Verstappen, obviously the reigning champion. Um, I just think, obviously, when he was against Lando Norris as his title contender, Norris had all those chances to close the gap. And it's a bit like Arsenal this season, and they just haven't capitalised. So I'll go with Verstappen in third. I think he'll get a couple of wins, though. I'm going to go for Lando Norris in second. I think Ferrari will be a better car this year, and I think that'll obviously cost. McLaren had the best car for most of last year, but like I said, they just couldn't capitalise. Um, and it's a bit like how Ferrari in 2022 as well. I mean, Ferrari had a better car for qualifying than Red Bull, but Verstappen ended up beating Leclerc most of the time. But I do think this is Charles Leclerc's year. He's finally got his Monaco win last year. I think this is his year to win the title. But it'll be a very good title fight. Hopefully, it'll go down to the last few rounds, a bit like how it did this year. Even though people kind of expected Verstappen to win after Norris didn't capitalise ultimately. But yeah, I'm gonna go with Charles Leclerc to win the 2025 Drivers' Championship. Will that be wrong? Probably, but what can I do about it? I'll go with Leclerc though. So that is going to be the end of my F1 2025 predictions. Do let me know down below what you've got. Like I said, it's going to be an interesting season. I'm definitely looking forward to it, and I think you guys should as well. Unfortunately, though, the first race of the season is in Australia in like 2 weeks. I'm pretty sure it's the day of the Carabao Cup final. So I'm probably not even going to watch the first race. I'll tape it. What I might do actually is I might tape it and then watch it before I go on my phone and check the results and see what happens. But just watch it on like fast forward. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Have a great rest of your day. This will be out. I mean, I'm literally recording this a week in advance. It's the 1st of March today, so happy March. This will be out on the 8th of March, I think. Yeah, because I'm going to record a Walking Dead video during the week for Friday, and then obviously the roundup will be on Wednesday. Yeah, thanks so much for watching, everyone. Have a great evening, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now. Why did I say evening? Oh, because it comes out at 6. I'm such an idiot. Bye, guys and girls.